two scary true elevator horror stories. Story 1. He never pressed a floor. I've lived in apartment buildings for most of my adult life, so elevators never really bothered me. They were just part of the routine. Leave for work, ride down, come home, ride back up. After a while, you stop paying attention. You stand in the corner, look at your phone, maybe nod at another resident, and wait for the doors to open. That's exactly how it was when I moved into the Jefferson Apartments. It was a 12-story building downtown. Secure entrance, key fob access, security cameras in every hallway. The management constantly advertised how safe the building was. Honestly, that was one of the reasons I signed the lease. I worked late shifts as a physical therapist and rarely got home before 10:30 at night. Walking into a secure building after dark gave me peace of mind. Or at least, it did at first. The first couple of months were completely normal. I learned most of my neighbors by face. There was an elderly couple on the 8th floor, a college student with a golden retriever, a single dad who always carried his sleeping daughter upstairs after school. Everyone seemed friendly. Nothing ever happened. Until one Thursday night. I'd gotten home around 11:15. The lobby was empty except for a man standing near the mailboxes. Dark jacket, black baseball cap, maybe 50 years old. He looked up when I walked in, then looked away. Nothing strange about that. People avoid eye contact all the time. I scanned my key fob. The elevator arrived almost immediately. I stepped inside. Just before the doors closed, the man walked in. He didn't say hello, didn't even look at me. He stood directly beside the control panel. I pressed 11. The doors closed. Normally, people press their floor within a second or two. He didn't. I waited. Nothing. Maybe he was visiting someone. Maybe he forgot. After about 10 seconds, I asked, "What floor?" No answer. He simply looked at the closed elevator doors. I assumed he hadn't heard me. Then, the elevator stopped on the 3rd floor. Nobody got on. Nobody got off. The doors opened. Closed again. The man still hadn't pressed a button. That was odd, but elevators malfunction sometimes. I shrugged it off. When we reached the 11th floor, I stepped out. As the doors closed, I glanced back. He was still standing exactly where he'd been. The elevator continued upward. The next evening, he was there again. Same jacket, same cap, same expression. Standing in the lobby. This time he entered after me again. He never pressed a floor. I told myself he probably lived on one of the upper levels and someone else had already selected his floor before I entered. Simple explanation, nothing more. Saturday morning, my niece Ava came to visit. She was 8 years old. My sister had dropped her off while she worked. We spent the afternoon baking cookies and watching cartoons. Around 6, we headed downstairs to pick up pizza. As the elevator doors opened, the same man was already inside, standing in the back corner, completely still. He hadn't pressed a button. Neither of us had. The elevator wasn't moving, almost as if he'd just been standing there waiting. I smiled politely. He didn't respond. Ava grabbed my hand tighter. She whispered, "Oh, it's like I don't like him." "It's okay." I pressed L for the lobby. The doors closed. Nobody spoke. Halfway down, the man slowly turned his head. Not toward me, toward Ava. He smiled. Just for a second. She immediately hid behind my arm. The elevator reached the lobby. I practically hurried her outside. She asked, "Why was he looking at me like that?" I didn't have an answer. Over the next week, I began noticing a pattern. Every time I saw him, he was in the elevator. Never carrying groceries, never holding keys, never checking mail, just riding. One night I mentioned him to my next-door neighbor. She frowned. "You mean the guy in the black cap?" I nodded. "I've seen him." "You know what floor he lives on?" She hesitated. "I don't think he does." That answer stuck with me. A few nights later, I came home even later than usual, almost midnight. The lobby was deserted. I scanned my key, stepped inside. The elevator doors opened immediately, empty. Or so I thought. Just before they closed, someone's hand reached between them. The doors opened again. It was him. No expression, no greeting. He stepped inside. This time, he stood much closer than before. Close enough that I could smell cigarette smoke on his jacket. I pressed 11. He pressed nothing. Again. The elevator began climbing. 4th floor, 5th floor, 6th. No words, just the soft hum of the motor. Then, without looking at me, he quietly said, "You always get home late." Every muscle in my body tensed. I never told him that.